Yo, this thing Al is crazy, man. He was a big gambler. You know, Big Al would gamble all the time, and, you know, he would fight like big.
When the dude get locked up, he goes into jail, start calling me, yo, in here that just took y'all watch or something, you know, and got crazy on the dude in jail. They beat the so bad, he told us who did it. He told, it got back to the city that the guys that did it, it was like, yo, Big L did that.
Big L was a beast, no question. His bars, sharp enough to slice through steel like it was nothing, and his storytelling on a whole other planet. But here's what most people don't talk about. Big L didn't just rap about street life, he lived it. He wasn't one of those fake studio gangsters trying to act tough. Nah, cross Big L and things could flip real quick. His name carried serious weight, not just in the booth, but out in the streets too. Even some of the biggest names still say Big L would throw hands without even hesitating if you pushed him. And even when the rap industry started showing him love, he never really let go of that street grind. Harlem made him, and that street code, it was in his blood. He rolled deep with a crew called NFL, and nope, not the football league. This was a real Harlem street set led by his older brother, Big Lee.
When I put out this album, I'm gonna go gold because the time is now. The time wasn't right then, you know what I'm saying? It was a little off time. The time is now.
They beat the nigga so bad, he told us who did it. He told, it got back to the city that the guys that did it, it was like, yo, Big L did that.
Every time I went to Harlem and see Big L that he was gonna fight, he thought he would fight in your size, like the biggest in the world. He's like this. Yeah.
That brotherhood pulled L into some wild situations. Not rumors, real street drama. One of the craziest stories, his fallout with Mase. Yeah, that Mase in 2024. Mase finally aired it out on an episode of It Is What It Is, opening up about their rocky past. They were both Harlem natives, used to ride together back in the day, part of the same rap squad, Children of the Corn. That group was loaded with talent. Cameron, Bloodshed, and Herb McGruff were all part of that early wave. The crew started linking up around 93, but Big L, he was already catching fire before that. His wordplay on mixtapes had the underground lit, and when he dropped his debut album Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous in 95, boom, it was on. Critics showed mad respect, and the streets, they treated it like it was scripture. But then in 96, Mase made a major move. He signed with Bad Boy Records and blew up practically overnight. Chart-topping hits, flashy videos, big label energy, the whole package. That's when things between him and Big L started getting weird. Mase ended up spilling all the tea later on, and he didn't hold back. He claimed Big L started jacking his style, specifically the way he flipped syllables with that slick Harlem twist. That rubbed Mase the wrong way, and he said he had to press L about it. But according to him, that convo, it turned real ugly, real quick. Big L didn't just take the criticism. He clapped back hard. Mase said L wasn't hearing none of it. Zero tolerance. Then things really got street. Mase says Big L came back with backup, and not just anyone. He brought in Fat Joe. Yeah, that Fat Joe from the Bronx, part of the D.I.T.C fam L was tight with. Mase broke it down like it just happened. I told L, I'll knock you out. You know I know you, dude. Then boom, L pulls up with Fat Joe. Mase said Big L had to call up some Bronx dudes because he couldn't get anyone else to ride with him, and it didn't stop there. One night, Mase was chilling at the Tunnel, that legendary NYC club where all kinds of wild things went down, and out of nowhere, Fat Joe rolled up. No greetings, no head nods, just straight pressure. Fat Joe supposedly said, I'm gonna kill both of y'all. No joke. That's how heated it got. But the real chaos came later. Mase said he was back in Harlem, just chilling with his childhood friend, God Shamgod, the same guy who'd go on to coach in the NBA. They were just cooling on the block when things took a wild turn. A robbery popped off right in front of them. Mase said he stayed calm, didn't panic, just moved slow, slid his watch off and tossed it by a car tire like he'd been through this before.
L come over to, right? He like, yo, Crack, I need you. I said, yo, what's up? You know, Big L, my little brother. Yeah. I said, yeah, what's up? Nah. I got to holler at this and this and that. Pulls up to Mason Bethel, man.
Oh, man.
And I'm standing with L.
Then boom, he and Sham dipped running for it. Lucky for them, cops were close and pulled up just in time to grab the dude who tried to rob them. And get this, they even found the watch too. But what came next? Straight madness. Mase said people locked up with that same guy started hitting him up. They were like, yo, Big L set that up. And during a beatdown behind bars, that same dude allegedly spilled everything. Mase was hearing whispers that Big L set the whole thing up, and he wasn't brushing that off. Then Fat Joe came through and co-signed some of it in an interview, but he added his own spin. Joe said Big L approached him at the tunnel looking dead serious, like something heavy was about to go down. No context, no warning. But since they were fam from the D.I.T.C crew, Joe didn't ask questions. He just rolled in with him. But once they got inside, Joe said it hit him like a brick. The beef was with Mase. He was stunned, had no clue he just walked into a Harlem street issue that had been bubbling for a minute. Joe said he stood there watching L get more and more hyped, and then L snapped on him, like, you just gonna stand there or what? Joe didn't like that at all. He felt like L dragged him into a personal mess he never signed up for. And after that night, the vibe definitely shifted. Joe knew Mase probably looked at him sideways after that, like trust just flew out the window. Looking back, Joe said the whole thing was messy, and he had no idea what kind of storm he just walked into. But Big L wasn't just caught in street heat. There was tension brewing in the rap game, too. Word was, there might have been some low-key rivalry between Big L and the notorious B.I.G.
Well, we got on, it was like LL, you know, he was the guy, he took us everywhere, the rap. And then when I got on, it was like the whole wave changed. It was like, this is what it looks like when a really get on.
It never exploded into a full-blown beef, but the vibe definitely off. Now here's the crazy part. Before Biggie blew up with Bad Boy, Diddy was actually eyeing Big L first, back in the early 90s while he was still at Uptown Records. Diddy was out scouting for the next big thing, and Big L had his full attention. But by the time things started getting serious, it was already a wrap. Big L had locked in a deal with Columbia back in '92, and that window to link with Diddy, gone. Not long after, Biggie stepped into the picture. Diddy signed him up and boom, Bad Boy exploded. Biggie shot straight to the top with platinum plaques and worldwide fame. But here's the thing, Big L and Biggie had way more in common than just their names. Both of them were lyrical killers. Straight up shook the New York rap game with raw talent and wordplay that made people stop and listen. But here's another wild connection. Both were close with Jay-Z. Yeah, everybody knows about Jay and Biggie trading bars on Brooklyn's finest, a certified classic. But folks sometimes forget, Jay had real history with Big L too. That legendary 1995 freestyle on the Stretch and Bobbito show, come on. Big L and Jay-Z went bar for bar in one of the coldest radio sessions ever recorded. And even now, people still say Big L straight bodied that session. Sure, Biggie took the flashy lane and became a household name. Meanwhile, Big L stayed gritty and underground. But don't get it twisted, they definitely crossed paths. Word is, Big L even opened up a few shows for Biggie while he was on tour. So yeah, there was a clear professional link. But here's where things start to get a little shady. Right around the time Big L dropped his debut Lifestyles of Da Poor and Dangerous in '95, the streets started buzzing with drama. One of the standout tracks on that album, MVP, smooth, catchy, and built on that classic DeBarge sample from Stay With Me. But then, boom, not long after, Biggie dropped One More Chance with the exact same sample. People started putting two and two together fast. Fans and insiders were asking the big question, was Biggie biting L's track?
They beat the so bad, he told us who did it. He told, it got back to the city that the guys that did it, it was like, yo, Big L did that.
Some even said One More Chance sounded a little too close to MVP. Big L never said anything publicly, but trust, the streets were talking. And while things didn't pop off directly between Big L and Biggie, behind the scenes, the tension between their crews was heating up. That's when it stopped being about music. Big L's older brother, Big Lee, had serious clout in Harlem. He was close with a heavy hitter named Reg, a real deal street figure tied to the NFL crew, and known to be affiliated with hitters like Black Just from the infamous Supreme team. Reg didn't mess around. Word on the block was, Reg had a run-in with a junior MAFIA member at a Chinese takeout spot. And this wasn't just some casual stare-down. Reg supposedly hit him with a cold look, flashed the strap, and snatched his chain on the spot. Now here's the wildest part. Rumor had it, that chain, it was the same exact one. That chain, word is, it was the same one Biggie flexed on an episode of Martin. That's how wild things got after the robbery went down. Junior MAFIA was heated. Word spread fast. They were out hunting for Reg, ready to track him down and take the chain back by force. But Reg, he wasn't running from nobody. Street sources said he straight up told them, if you want it, come take it in blood. He wasn't handing over anything. Meanwhile, at NYC's most poppin' Sunday night spot, The Tunnel, Big L was a regular fixture. That place was full of music execs, street legends, and people who moved serious weight in the game. And Big L always made sure to look the part. People who were there said every time he showed up, he'd borrow one of Reggie's iced out chains to keep that shine on him.
And I walked up 40th on 7th to 41st, and the Spanish just run out of nowhere like, yo, give it up, I'm gonna kill both of you.
But here's where the story turns crazy. That chain L was wearing at the tunnel, word in the streets was, it might have been the same chain snatched off that Junior MAFIA member. Some even say it came straight from Biggie's own neck. That same exact chain Biggie was seen wearing on Martin? If that's true, that move was next level bold, straight disrespect, and the ultimate flex at the same time. But even with all that street heat and madness, Big L's legacy was never just about the drama. What made him truly legendary? That pen. His bars were sharp, deep, and untouchable. You could feel the passion in every verse he spit. Lyrically, he was on another planet. Big L wasn't just a rapper, he was hip-hop. His presence was raw, his bars cut like blades, and his flow, untouchable. His wordplay was so slick, even the vets in the game had to stop and take notice. That's why he earned respect from both the streets and the industry. Born Lamont Coleman on May 30th, 1974, in Harlem, New York, L came up in the grind for real. He was the youngest of three, growing up in tough conditions. His pops walked out early, leaving his mom to hold it down alone in a cramped two-room apartment on 139th Street and Lenox Avenue. As the baby of the fam, they called him Little L, but don't get it twisted. Even as a kid, he stood out. That fire, it was always there. The moment that flipped the switch, his older brother Donald, aka Z, took him to a Run DMC concert at the Beacon Theater. L was just 7. But that show changed everything. From that point on, he was locked in. By 12, hip-hop had him fully wrapped. He was diving into lyrics, bumping mixtapes, and going bar for bar with anybody in the neighborhood who thought they had heat.
Using a few of my lyrics, like different compounds that I was using. That's when you make two words rap at the same time. So I checked the nigga.
Not just words, syllables.
Yes.
He didn't just want to be good, he was chasing greatness. For Big L, this wasn't a side hustle or some dream to pass the time. This was love. This was purpose. By 16 in 1990, L was already penning heavy-hitting verses and sharpening his lyrical blade like a warrior. That same year, he linked with two homies, Doc Ream and Rodney, and they formed a short-lived rap crew called 3 the Hard Way. The group didn't last long, but it was Big L's first real step into the game. Proof he wasn't just daydreaming, he was putting in work. L stayed on the grind, focused, but the people around him, not always built the same. When Rodney dipped, they switched the name to Two Hard Mothers, but that crew fizzled out too. Still, those early losses taught L a major lesson. Stay hungry, push through, and never wait for someone else to co-sign your dream. Then came the turning point, summer of 1990. That's when Big L linked up with Lord Finesse, a name already making noise in the underground as both a rapper and a producer. They met at a record store on 125th Street during an autograph signing. And L didn't just chill in the background. He stepped right up and dropped a freestyle on the spot.
Finesse in a record store, I told him nice, put me on, he told me to drop for him, I dropped, he liked it. We exchanged numbers, he started letting me open his shows. Then he put me on his remix single and all that.
No fear, no warm-up, just straight bars. That moment hit different, Finesse felt it. And that one encounter ended up cracking the door wide open for L's future in hip-hop. Meanwhile, L was still holding it down at Julia Richmond High School. And he wasn't just sitting in class bored, he was sharpening his skills everywhere. Word around Harlem was spreading fast. Whether it was battling in the hallways, trading bars on the block, setting house parties on fire, or spazzing out on the mic at block jams, Big L was making noise. Big L was shutting it down everywhere he touched. Before he even had a deal, he was already building a serious buzz. This was a Harlem kid turning heads with nothing but raw talent and fearless delivery. In his final interview, Big L looked back on those early grind days and said, In the beginning, all I ever saw me doing was battling everybody on the street corners, rhyming in the hallways, beating on the wall, rhyming to my friends. Every now and then, a house party, grab the mic, a block party, grab the mic. That was the foundation, pure passion and hustle. By 1992, Big L wasn't just another dude with bars, he was making waves. He was already deep into recording demos, and those tracks would become the blueprint for his classic debut. L was stacking his legacy brick by brick. Even before that first album dropped, he was already moving like a star. That same year, he popped up on Yo MTV Raps with his mentor, Lord Finesse, to promote Finesse's project Return of the Funky Man. That moment, massive. L finally had a camera on him, and he made it count. His first real break came when he dropped a verse on the remix of Yes You May, the B-side to Finesse's Party Over Here. That verse, straight fire. Then came another major step. He landed a feature on Represent from Showbiz and AG's Runaway Slave album. To the world, those might have looked like small cameos, but to L, they were power moves. He was climbing fast, and nothing was gonna slow him down. Big L was laying the blueprint for Harlem to take over. By that point, his pen game was untouchable. That same year, he entered a massive freestyle battle thrown by Nubian Productions. Nearly 2,000 hungry MCs pulled up, but guess who walked away with the crown? Big L.
Big L, man, y'all niggas is wild. Yo, Jay, man, that Jay need to get up to Big L anytime here.
That win didn't just earn him stripes. It proved what his block had been screaming for years. Big L was lethal with a mic. Then in 1993, the next big chapter dropped. Columbia Records saw the spark and signed him on the spot. It was go time. Not long after, he hit the streets with his first promo single, Devil's Son, and that track, straight wild, dark, twisted, gritty. Big L called it one of the first true horrorcore joints ever released. The vibe came from two places, his love for scary flicks and the raw chaos of Harlem life. That record spread like wildfire. Some people were shocked, others impressed. But L, he didn't care about fitting into any box. He wasn't just about horror bars. He had range, and he was ready to show it. That same year, he decided it was time to build something bigger. He pulled together a group of Harlem's rawest young spitters and formed a rap crew that would go down in history. Children of the Corn, aka COC. This wasn't just some random squad. This lineup was loaded with future stars. Cameron, back when he was Killer Cam. Mase before the flashy suits, Bloodshed, and McGruff. Harlem was heating up, and Big L was dead center in the middle of all that fire. COC started shaking up the underground for real. Their chemistry was crazy. Raw energy, street hunger, and bars for days. The streets were tuned in and the buzz was building fast. But just when it looked like they were about to take off, tragedy hit hard in 1997. Bloodshed, Cameron's cousin and one of the crew's day one members, was killed in a car crash. The whole squad felt that loss heavy. It was a devastating blow that slowed everything way down. Still, Big L never stopped grinding. Even before the crew started making waves, L had already been putting out fire. Back in '94, he dropped his second promo single, I Should Have Used a Rubber. A wild, raw story filled with that classic L Street humor and punchlines sharp enough to slice brick. It was gritty, clever, and pure vintage L from start to finish. Then came 1995, the year he finally dropped his debut album, Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous. It hit the Billboard 200 at number 149 and climbed to number 22 on the top R&B hip-hop albums chart. And that was with no radio hits, no big label push, just straight bars and relentless hustle. The project came loaded with heat. Tracks like Put It On and MVP even cracked the Billboard Hot Rap Tracks chart. The critics gave it props, the streets embraced it, and the message was loud. Big L was on a different level. His wordplay was deadly sharp. His flow, clean and smooth. And those punchlines, they hit like a truck. But while the music was on fire, behind the scenes, things were far from smooth. Tension with Columbia started boiling over, and by '96, they dropped Big L, just like that. L later admitted he never felt like he fit in there, trapped in boardrooms with execs who didn't understand him or the streets he came from. They had no clue what to do with a raw Harlem talent like L, and that disconnect, it cost them. But Big L wasn't the type to fold. In 1997, right after parting ways with Columbia, he went all in on his second studio album, The Big Picture. That same year, he officially linked up with the legendary Diggin' in the Crates crew, D.I.T.C, joining forces with underground heavyweights like O.C., Lord Finesse, and Showbiz. It was a power move that proved L wasn't just still in the game, he was locked in. He started showing up in On The Go magazine and dropped serious heat like Dangerous with O.C., a gritty, no-frills collab that had people buzzing. Then in '98, Big L took things international, hopping on a plane to Europe as the opening act for O.C.'s Jewels tour. No major label backing him, no big corporate machine. Just pure talent and grind pushing him overseas. At that point, Big L wasn't checking for cosigns, he was calling his own shots. So he launched his own indie label, Flamboyant Entertainment. His mission? Keep it real. No filters, no cheesy hooks, no watered-down radio tricks, and definitely no cookie-cutter top 40 samples. Just raw Harlem bars, straight from the concrete, with nothing but truth in every line. Under his flamboyant label, Big L dropped one of the coldest joints of his career, Ebonics. But this wasn't just another rap track. It was a full-on language lesson wrapped in elite rhyme schemes. L broke down African-American vernacular English bar for bar, flipping everyday slang with that clever Harlem twist only he could pull off. The Source even ranked it one of the top 5 indie singles of the year. That one track reminded the whole industry Big L wasn't just nice with it. He was a lyrical menace. Genius-level wordplay, zero gimmicks, all heart and skill. And that indie hustle? It was making major noise. It wasn't long before Dame Dash from Rockefeller Records came knocking. Dame saw the vision, L had it, and he wanted him on the rock roster. But Big L wasn't just thinking about himself, he wasn't coming in solo. He told them straight up, if he signs, his whole crew is coming too. Big L wasn't chasing a quick deal, he was on a mission to elevate everybody around him. So in early 1999, the talks got real. The plan, sign Big L and bring in Herb McGruff, C-Town, and even Jay-Z under one Harlem-powered banner. They were calling it the Wolf Pack, a collective that could have flipped the game if it all came together. Big L wasn't just rapping, he was building something bigger. Everything was lining up. Big L was right there, on the edge of blowing up for real and bringing his whole squad with him. But just as the next chapter was about to begin, it all came crashing down. In February 1999, before any of those plans could become reality, Big L's life was tragically cut short in the very streets he repped so hard. A brutal loss, not just for Harlem, but for the entire hip-hop world. Still, his legacy lives on, untouchable bars that inspire to this day, a flow that still hits, and a story that needs to be remembered. Big L wasn't just another rapper. He was a one of one, gone way too soon. If you made it this far, hit that like button, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to know the real story behind one of the greatest MCs to ever do it. Appreciate you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.